What's up, guys? So today I've been working on the truck again. I got a little bit of stuff done. Yesterday I got some stuff done, just trying to get it in between customer stuff. What we're trying to do is still get the N2MB Wot Box wired up and get the nitrous stuff wired up. I've currently got the bottle heater wired up and working, not working the way I want it to. I've got to redo some wires. I was trying to hurry up and make it for a race. Didn't make it. Decided it's best not to rush it. I was trying to make it for the race, decided it was best not to rush it, so we just went ahead and stopped, drove down, didn't even end up racing it. I did get one street fight that we had. I got one pass in the truck, went 16-0, which was slower than what it was supposed to be, according to the draggy stuff. So then I tweaked the trans tuning, got it to go 15.6, picked up 2 mile an hour, 4/10, and it's worse to 60-foot left too hard. Sorry, my allergies killing me. But ended up getting it down 15.6. That's what I did tuning it myself. I've decided since to throw in the towel. I'm not going to tune it anymore. I'm going to have somebody else tune it for me. Reason being, I don't have the time, the patience, or the knowledge at this current point in time to continue. So I'm going to take a hiatus. So I've outsourced to somebody else to get them to tune the truck. Juggernaut Power is going to be tuning it. I've got my bass tune from them. And I messaged them on Facebook and said, hey, I can't get this bass tune to even start. And they sent me another one, and it isn't working either. But they said they think they've got the issue figured out. It must have been something between my computer or something. I don't know, something weird. But we'll get it fixed. It's not a big deal. I'm excited to see where the truck ends up going with their stuff. We have a DER test and tune, which is a racing series, bracket racing. I'm going to try to bracket race the truck next weekend because it should be consistent at least. So I've got the welds on it. Was going to race it this past weekend, but we didn't get the tune stuff figured out in time. And I went and tweaked it a little bit myself today on the HP so that I could at least drive it around this week until we get all that stuff finessed and get it work, because right now it's the only tune I've got. So got some tweaks made to that today. I did get the Wot Box wired up. It was bad. So I had to get a new box. The one that I bought used was shorted internally somehow. So I went and bought another one today, a friend, and got it all done. Got it wired up, and I just tested it, as you can see here.
As long as you ain't on no dire need. Burn them!
And so got that pass done on the street right there in front of the shop. I figured it'd spin. It spun at Bristol, but nope. Literally, the bare asphalt out here is better than the track. So I'm just baffled, bumfuzzled, don't understand what the heck is going on with that, how the track can physically be worse than bare asphalt. But it is. So we're going to have to raise the launch on that, hope for the best, get that stuff figured out this week. The tune, hopefully once we get it, we'll have some better issues. I've got an issue right now with the Wot Box. Before I show you all the wiring, I've got to go in and fix the brake pedal switch because I tapped into a 5-volt reference. I think it's actually a 12-volt reference. And what's happening is I'll hit the brake pedal, it'll cause the truck to die. I think it's seeing interference between the ignition and all that stuff through the box because it's supposed to be a 5-volt reference and it's a 12. So I'll have to look into that some more and see if there's a way to fix that. Maybe there's another wire I can tap into. I don't know. I'm learning. There's not really much information on the F-150 stuff, which is why I'm going to share my findings and how I did everything myself on this. So I'm going to show you guys how I wired everything, but when we get to the brake pedal switch, I'm going to find the correct wire, and then at that point, we will proceed to find the correct wire to show you guys how to do this correctly, because the one I picked obviously is not working right, but we'll get right on into this. And so one of the first things that you'll notice is the fuse box right here. We have to tap into the fuse box. This is where you're going to get your ignition. On the Wot Box, it's going to be a red and orange wire. So there'll be 2 wires coming in here. They'll come through the firewall, which you can see there. We'll come to that in a minute. You run them wires forward. there's little clips here. One here, 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 on the side. And you take all them out, this whole box will come apart and you can get to all the wires inside of it. Number 78, which is the fourth one over, is this 15 amp fuse right here. This is the wire you've got. It's a gray with blue stripe wire, or blue with gray stripe. I think it's gray with blue stripe. And that wire runs all the way out through here. The problem is, I could say, hey, you just cut this open and you just grab that wire right here. Don't do that, because I don't know which gray with blue stripe wire it is in there, because there's probably more than one. Because there's probably a reference coming in and a reference coming out. And if you just cut the wrong one, you're not doing yourself any good. So what you end up doing here is this wire here has one wire coming out that you're going to cut in half. Once you cut that wire in half, you're going to attach orange and red to the wire. Orange is going to go to the wiring harness. Red is going to go to the fuse right here. All right, so red's going to go to this. Orange is going to go to this end, going that way. We're going that way. So you just have two wires comes up. As you can see, my wires run up inside the box, tucked, nice, neat, clean. I'd like to have made that a little cleaner down here. Disregard all this. This will all be gone. This stuff won't be here. But I'd like to have made that a little cleaner, but that's about the best I can do for now. That stuff comes around, comes up, and right here. So this is where you're going to have your 4 wires that come through your firewall. And for my nitrous stuff, I'll end up having to have one more that comes out here. I just haven't got there yet. Actually, 2 more will probably have to come out here, so I haven't got there yet. I'll get to that. Your blue wire is going to tap into this first connector, and your yellow wire is going to tap into your second connector. And I can look it up, and I'll probably post it in the comments or something. If you'll just go to N2MB's website, look up the instructions for a 2014 Mustang, it's the same pin on these connectors as it is for the Mustang. The exact same wire, same color, same pin out. It's all the exact same. All you're getting here is your TPS voltage and your ignition coil for RPM so that it knows where you're at. Those wires are going to run inside. Once you get in here, you're going to have, well, apparently a locked door. Once you get inside here, you're going to mount your Wot Box wherever you want it. I like it in the glove box. That's why I put her in the glove box. Yeah, State Farm's going to be thrilled about this, aren't they? So you mount it right here. It's double-sided taped on. You have 6 wires that come out of here, right? We've talked about 4 of them underneath the hood. The other one you're going to have is number 5 that's going to go to the brake pedal over there. And number 6 is a black wire that just goes to ground. There's a ground right here. It's just up there. You won't be able to see it, but there's one just up there. There's a bolt, 8mm, I think it was. Took it loose, run one of them spade things. I don't really know what they're called. Anyway, ran an on-insulated terminal thing to that, zipped it down. But I think a big section of my problem is the brake pedal switch. So I'm going to see if I can find a better source, and then I will let you know where it is I went into. But you just run that wire back down over, tap it into the brake switch. So the only wire you're cutting is the gray and blue one inside the fuse box so that you can attach red to one end and orange to the other end. All the other ones, you do not cut the wire. Don't do it. If you cut that wire, any of the other ones that I'm talking about, the brake pedal switch or the 2 at the PCM, you're going to have a bad time. They suck to put back together. So you're just going to cut the one in the fuse box and tap into the other ones. So you can use a tap or solder or whatever method it is you choose. Just make sure you tape everything back up correctly so that you don't have any contact issues. In the meantime, I'm going to get started on that, and then I've got to get started on the nitrous wiring, which I probably won't be able to get to today. It'd probably have to be a tomorrow thing. Good news. Figured it out. I did, in fact, tap into the wrong wire on the brake pedal switch, which I was pretty certain that I had once it started acting funny. So your brake pedal switch on the Wot Box, your clutch activated switch, is supposed to be a 5-volt reference source. A reference source means it doesn't see the whole battery 12-volt source. I was feeding 12 volts to it via the violet and white, the violet and white, purple and white wire off the brake pedal switch. Don't do that. So there's another wire on there, which I'm going to show you now. That's the one you tap into because it's actually a 4.97 volt reference, 5-volt reference wire that will feed to the Wot Box, which will then trigger everything to work correctly. The problem that I was having is where it was feeding 12 volts to it, it would trigger, and then the watt box was going crazy. It would blink constantly, wouldn't stop even though it wasn't activated, and that was causing some severe side effects. So in turn, I could actually hit the brake pedal, truck would die. It was just no good. So don't tap into the purple and white wire, violet and white. We're going to use this one instead. So first of all, I'm going to start by saying, never mind my hard to speak here. Oh, but we're going up and under the dash. All right, so here, as you can see, let me turn this flashlight down a little bit. There's your switch, right here. Oh my goodness. So as you can see, there's your switch, and you can see I've already stripped one of the wires down. Get zoomed in here. That is the wrong one. We are actually going to tap into that purple and red. Yeah, that one there. Let's see if I can. Purple and red right there. We're going to tap into that one. All right, so I got that done. That was a pain in the butt. Underneath the dash is horrible. It's one of the worst things you can ever do. Got it done. We should be hooked up on a 5-volt reference now instead of 12 volts. My fault. That's my oversight last time. So now that I got that figured out, and you know that it's the purple and red wire, violet and red, that's the wire you're going to tap into for your voltage reference. We are now going to go back through the watt box, check everything, and make sure it's all working correctly. And give me 1 second. I'll show you guys exactly how to do that. All right. So as you can see here, I've got it pulled up. I'm going to go over here to... I'm going to speed this up. Leave your COM port on auto unless you know better. I know that the COM port is 6. Saved me a lot of hassle. Reading data from Wattbox. It's going to say nothing. Failed. Because I didn't have a key on. I did that on purpose, in case you're wondering. All right. Keys on. Your Wattbox will have a blue light on it. Oh, it's still blinking. That's not a good sign. It ain't supposed to be blinking right now. Well, let's see how this ends up going. We're going to hit read. Reading data from Wattbox. Okay, so I got the 2-step set at 2,500. I know from that test on the street that was not enough. I'm going to go ahead and take her to 3,000. I'm also going to lower my TPS voltage. As you can see, TPS is 0.39. I'm going to take it to 0.5. Leave it there. And I got the limiter set at 8,000. This limiter is an ignition cut instead of a fuel cut, so that'll be safer for the nitrous stuff. Actually, I'm going to turn that down. 7,100 in case we hit that. We should not hit that. I'm going to go ahead and write that into the computer. Now that's successfully completed. That's done. I've made sure that this stuff here is good. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to hit read. The things that we're checking now is our vehicle snapshot. I'm going to floor it. That's full gas. 2.02. I'm going to let off the gas, hit read again. 0.39. So we know that's the voltage for the throttle. I'm now going to hit the brakes and hit read. We got 5 volts. I'm going to let off. Hit read. We got 5 volts. Or 0 volts. So that appears to be correct now. Alright. So all that stuff is good. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to start the truck. And we're going to see how this does real fast. Turn it off. Turn it on. Show her that watt box. Oh, she started blinking. And she's not blinking. She is blinking. She's not blinking. I'm not entirely sure what that means. It's flashing an even amount. I'm going to look it up real quick and see what that problem may persist of. All right, so I think I got this thing figured out. I was running the TPS threshold. I was running that voltage really, really low. It was causing the box to trip out. The box was doing some weird stuff. When you go watt, or what it thinks is watt, it should blink. When you come off the throttle, it should stop. If you hold the brake down, it should engage 2-step. When I come off the brake, it should be fine. When I test watt, go full throttle, tap the brake pedal, there it was. That was ignition cut when it stopped blinking. So having said that, this thing, I'm trying to get the voltages as low as I can without causing an issue. Reason being is I want this thing to be as sensitive as possible without having problems. That's working. So far it's working. So we know that the up 0% throttle is 0.41, 0.39 volts. We don't want to get that close. I'm going to try 0.85 volts. We're going to write that in. Let's see how this tries. Well, it's not flashing. It appears to be working correctly. So I think that was the problem. I think the issue I was having is I just had the voltages too low and I was tripping it out. What I'm going to try to do now is start it and see if I can show you how this thing works. Let me back out on the zoom here a little bit. The box is off. Turn the key on. The box is now on. The box is not doing that crazy flashing that it was. But as I roll down on the throttle, it does. So that's perfect. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and start it. All right. Box seems to be working correctly. So your actions are going to be foot on the brake. We've got the RPM launch controls at 3 grand. So foot on the brake. Let's see if I can get this to smooth out a little bit. I'm going to bump the throttle up. Which is through a check engine light for the trans code. Now, if you've got a catless vehicle, Mustang for example, if you go Watt and then hit the clutch, usually you can shoot a big old flame out the back of it. So just depends on what RPM you do it at. You just have to trigger it. So everything seems to be working correctly. I'm gonna go ahead and shut her down. I'm gonna turn the laptop off. We are going to leave the tune alone. I ain't messing with that. Put my steering wheel back down. As you can see, there we have a Wot Box. So the biggest thing about this whole video for me is showing you guys how to make the Wot Box work on this truck. There is almost nothing out there for these trucks. Nobody does it. Well, let me take it back. A lot of people do it. Nobody posts about it. There's not a whole lot of information on it. So hopefully this goes out there and helps somebody. Hopefully you guys, if you don't feel comfortable doing it, you can bring it to me. It's an option. But if you do feel comfortable doing it yourself, or maybe you're on the fence, maybe this is that thing that pushes you over the top to help you guys get it done. So all I really want to do is see other people do good, to strive to do well. The biggest thing with this is making sure that you do it and do it correctly. You are tapping into the wiring harness, and if you mess up that connection underneath the fuse box, you're going to have a bad day. If you cut these wires at the PCM, you're going to have a bad day. It ain't an easy fix. It is, but it's not. It's a pain in the butt to do. It's not that bad, but it does suck. So keep that in mind. Make sure you guys do the best that you can. Take your time. Do not rush anything. That is the one thing about this. As much as I wanted to rush the nitrous install, that was just throwing wires on. I will not rush this. This is a permanent job. This is not something that you're going to take off in 6 months. This is a permanent job. Once this is done, it's done. So keep that in mind when you do these. As of right now, as far as I know, on the Mustangs, if you're running an automatic, this can cause a phantom limiter. On the trucks, apparently it doesn't have an issue. There's a lot of guys that run these things on their turbo setups and stuff like that. I'm using it for a nitrous controller. I'm also going to use it for the turbo setup when we do it. So this right here is going to be a lifelong thing for me. I plan on keeping this thing forever, or at least the Wot Box. I don't know. You never know with me on anything else. But I'm going to go ahead and shut the laptop down. I'm going to go ahead and get the kiddo loaded up. We are going to go home and call it a night. I hope that you all find this video well. Remember to like, subscribe, and come back and check out the rest of the videos because we've still got plenty more things going on this year. The racing season's just getting started. The race was yesterday, but I think this week I'm going to drop 2 videos. It'll be this one and then us at the races last weekend, or this weekend. It'll be last weekend by the time you see it. And we're going to take the truck bracket racing, and maybe Paul's car and maybe even Chris's car will end up making it to DER Friday night. Friday night's test and tune. Saturday night and Sunday are the races, or Saturday and Sunday are the races. My plan is take the tent, take the cooler, chill out, just take my time, put it in probably trophy class where it's a daily driver. So street truck. I'm going to try to put it in that class and see what I can do. I've heard stories, you know, with DER stuff when you're racing bracket. There's a guy in a 93 Geo Storm that could come out there, or whatever year Geo Storm is, but he can come out there, and as long as it runs the same 25-second pass every single time, he's going to win. He's going to win. It's consistent. Consistency is key. So my big thing is getting some seat time, some testing, some tuning, getting some tweaks and adjustments done, and then consistency. I would like to get consistency down and actually possibly win some money with this truck. I don't know if that'll ever happen, but at the minimum, this truck's a giant billboard. So hopefully, once it starts getting fast and it's actually impressive, that's when people will start to notice it. That's kind of what I'm hoping for anyway. And I hope you guys notice it as well. I hope you guys come back, you tell me how much you like it. Most people are not race car, they're daily driver. I didn't get the memo. I did. I totally disregarded it. But, you know, we're here now. I will catch you guys next time. And always remember, make better choices, such as don't race car your daily. Do as I say, not as I do. Catch you next time.